Hey guys, well, it's been a lot longer than a month of Sundays since I made a video tour of my gardens, but I hope you enjoy. It's a lot different than it was the last time I did a tour, so um, here goes. This is the rose garden along the driveway. They're sort of they're sort of on their sort of recovering now because I had a lot of deer predation, and of course the Japanese beetles were bad for about a month. And I don't treat with insecticides because I don't believe in putting insecticides in your garden. So I just let the Japanese beetles have the roses for a month, and they're returning. I've got a few that look really nice right now. Um, this one is one of our favorites called Heaven on Earth. It's real frilly. Um, this is another one of our favorites. It's Brigadoon. This is a new one I just put in called Princess Demonico. And it's really nice, very fragrant. Um, one of my purples called Heirloom. And we've got some red masterpiece blooming. This little miniature here is called Hot Lava. That's a really nice one. Not fragrant, but pretty. Then right here in front of it is my new one that I planted last year called Gabriel Oak. And the flowers have gotten smaller, but still blooming heavily and has been all summer. You see the difference between the fresh flower that just opened and a flower that's been open for about a week. They fade a little bit, but they're very fragrant. This is one of my favorites. It's called About Face, and the petals are peach on the front and then a deep apricot in the back. You can sort of see that deep apricot color on the back side. One of my favorites. Light fragrance, but not bad. I mean, not heavy. This one is called Big Purple. It's a sort of a purple and white striped one. Next to it is Pumpkin Patch, which is real pretty when it first opens, but then it fades to not very pretty. Here's Rio Samba blooming, which is always a favorite. Not super fragrant, but very pretty. Here's my big frilly Traviata. That one I planted last year. It's a gorgeous rose. Not super fragrant again, but boy, what amount of petals that has. This one is White Licorice. Opens a pale yellow and then fades to an almost pure white. Semi-miniature. Not a huge rose, but very pretty. Then out here in the front, just starting to sort of come back, is Marco Polo. Sort of a very nice, blousy yellow rose with a good fragrance. As we go around here, if I can walk through the rose garden, which is dangerous at any cost, we've got Sexy Rexy, which is a really pretty, pure pink rose. Very nice rose. We go over here. I've got this rose, which just opened today, which is First Prize. And it is a first prize. That thing is gorgeous. High centered bud, beautiful form. Really nice rose. Love it. Then over here we've got two roses that are growing side by side. One is Graham Thomas and the other one is Sedona. Love the color contrast between those two. Well, that's pretty much it for the roses. The rest of the front of the garden is mostly lawn, as you can see. My partner insists on having lawn. I really hate lawn, but I will say that it looks the best it's ever looked. Even after I paid $2,000 to have it sodded last year, and the sod all died. One of my favorite plants is this lovely bush, which is going to be a tree. Weeping Styrax japonica. Beautiful white bell-shaped flowers that have a wonderfully sort of sweet, spicy fragrance. Over here is my weeping Japanese maple, Crimson Queen. A friend of mine gifted that to me in a pot, and it's done beautifully here ever since. It gets full blazing south-facing sun for like half a day, and it seems perfectly fine with it. I thought it would burn up, but it did not, and it seems perfectly happy. I've got some really hot loving things here. It's a ground cover chrysanthemum. I can't remember the name of it right this minute. And I've got some lavender planted in it. Lavender Phenomenal, which is not blooming right now. And then my butterfly weed is getting ready to rebloom. I cut all the old original flowers off, and now it's going to rebloom. That's a hint, guys. You can keep it blooming if you cut it back. Another one of my favorites, which isn't as golden as it is when it first comes out, is oak leaf hydrangea Little Honey. I have to keep it sprayed to keep the deer from eating it to the ground, but it had two nice flower heads on it this year, and had beautiful golden foliage, which has sort of faded to green now, but still a pretty plant overall. So now we'll go to what I call the real gardens, which is the secret gardens of where I call it my paradise. It's through the gates to the back. So this is the left gate that goes into the gardens. As you can see, I have my welcome to the garden sign. And yes, all pollinators are welcome. This greets you when you first appear into the garden. It's a lovely ensemble of variegated box, some coleus, some sculptures, some ground covers. And as you walk down here, you'll go under the arch that is covered with Confederate jasmine, which smells heavenly, and is still got a bloom or two, still coming and smelling good. On the right is my limelight hydrangea, which is showing off beautifully. I had to cut a few flowers off of it because they were blocking the walkway. But as you walk down this way, you're walking past a large needle palm. I'm a palm guy, so I have lots of different kinds of hardy palms in my gardens. Then got the 6, almost 7 foot tall Amistad salvia, which came back from last year. I was shocked that it survived the winter, but we did have a mild winter. Here is my lovely ferns and what I call the fern grotto under the deck. It has the fountain and all these big beautiful ostrich ferns, which you see. And this is Japanese climbing fern, which is also a really cool fern. Comes back from the ground every year. Can get a bit weedy. Little baby ones come up everywhere. The cannas are looking good. These tall gingers. Our garden backs up to a solid forest to the north, and sort of to the west. So I'm in a nice little microclimate here. It keeps me a good, a bit warmer. Here are my cashmere bouquet Clerodendron bungii that I've posted pictures of. They're wonderful plants, a bit aggressive, but they're still great plants. Looking this way, you can see the 18 or so tall, foot tall windmill palm. More of sun perennials, crinums, phlox, zinnias, lantanas, alstroemeria lilies, tithonia. Looking over here, you can see the hardy orange tree as a backdrop to the bird bath, and in front of it is the Texas firecracker bush, which the hummingbirds just adore, and next to that is Turk's cap, which they also adore. Noticed last night that my angel's trumpet is starting to bloom, which I was most appreciative of. More crinums blooming. Then over here you've got a backdrop of camellias, which also give protection from the cold. Then I've got the orange begonias in my iron urns, along with a sculpture of boys playing leapfrog. Looking back up that way, you're looking up the other side of the house with this big urn of coleus. As you'll find out, I really love coleus. It's one of my favorite plants. Looking back this way in the full sun right this minute is plants that like wet feet but sun. These get sun probably 3 or 4 hours in the morning, and then they're in the deep shade the rest of the day. So that's looking back toward the grotto again. My favorite sitting spot with a nice glass of wine or cold beer. I can watch the flora and fauna for hours. Going down this way leads into the woodland garden, which is all things that love differing degrees of shade. As you can see, the Clerodendron bungii will also grow in the shade. Doesn't usually bloom as well, but this one seems to be very happy. We have pathways that lead around, creating a figure 8. Big elephant ears. And then the figure 8 comes back around this way. And then we have my wonderful Buddha, who has a spotlight over his head, so he's lit at night. And then looking back this way, you'll see the other side of the figure 8, complete with our black swan, which greets everybody as he's coming down the pathway. Nice little seating areas for people to sit and contemplate and enjoy. The temperature down here in the woodland is probably about 10 degrees or so cooler than it is up in the full sun. So it's nice to come down here for a respite in the morning. Unfortunately, in the afternoon, the mosquitoes will take you away. But another bench. We've had this bench for the whole 31 years that we've lived here. It was a gift for our wedding, which happened back in 1989. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and let me know what you think. Have a great rest of your day.